Once more, welcome to all one. We are now keep discussing sustainability and responsible tourism, but from the decarbonization point of view and from the hospitality point of view. I'm happy to have Paloma Zapata here. Welcome in Florence. And the stage is yours.
Thank you. Oh. Hello? Hello? Hello?
L'altro microfono, per cortesia.
Hello? 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 Okay. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for the introductions. And thank you, everybody, for attending this session. We're going to be discussing, climate-friendly hotels, how to take climate action if you are a hotelier. And we're also going to be discussing case studies as to how to go about decarbonizing a hotel and taking climate action. And Sylvia is going to give us some interesting inputs on her experience in decarbonizing her hotel. So without further ado, I will continue. I will start. So first of all, I represent Sustainable Travel International. We are an organization who supports the tourism industry in their journey towards sustainability, because we believe that tourism done well can be a means of economic development and conservation, but done incorrectly, it could be devastating for those two same areas. So when it comes to climate change, it's really affecting our destinations. We are seeing more wildfires. For example, pretty recently, we saw devastating effects, in Hawaii. We are seeing, we're losing our ski resorts, our ski seasons. They're shorter and shorter each day. And to the same effect, we're having hotter and hotter summers here in Europe as well. We could experience that just this past summer. We're also losing our coral reefs, coral bleaching because of high temperature rise. We have sargassum problems in Caribbean beaches exacerbated by the pH imbalance of the oceans. And we are experiencing drought. That's affecting our crops. It's affecting our agriculture industry. So there's numerous reasons why, working towards reducing the effects of climate change. Hello?
Yeah.
Reducing the effects of climate change is this. It is on. But tourism is not only a victim to climate change. Tourism is also a culprit of climate change. So tourism is responsible for about 8% of global climate emissions. Hello? Sorry about that. So tourism is not only a victim, but it's also a culprit. Tourism is responsible for 8% of global climate emissions. So we are in a climate emergency, and it's up to all of us and in our industry to decarbonize our operations and take more responsible practices. So this is what I'm going to take you through. So not only is it a climate emergency, and we can do and should do something about it, but the market is also requesting it. Sustainable demand for sustainable travel is continuously growing, especially in sustainable hotels. You can see here that it's been consistently growing since 2006, the demand for sustainable hotels. But there's also a lack of options. So you have the will of the market to stay in sustainable hotels, but they're seeing a lack of options. They don't know how to decipher what is a sustainable hotel or what is a sustainable activity. So there's a will, but there's not necessarily a way for tourists to take responsible choices. So there is, an opportunity there to continuously educate the market. There's also, highlights in the online travel agencies. They're also highlighting sustainability options. So they're starting also to identify, creating a means, a methodology to be able to identify attractions, hotels, and tour operators who are doing sustainable activities. And there's also an appetite to support climate change, or basically to divert climate change. As travelers are also willing and committed to supporting climate projects and carbon offsetting projects. And there's also ESG investments are really going towards sustainable practices. So investors are looking for sustainable practice. Policy is also more and more requesting compliance and more disclosure of ESG impacts. So there's a lot of powers at play. So it's not just a nice to have, it's a must to have. Sustainability is now a must have. So anyone who wants to be competitive in this market really needs to think about their sustainable practices and how to communicate their sustainable practices. So how can a business take climate action? So these are four easy, well, not easy steps, but they're 4 steps to take to start taking climate action. And the first is to measure. You can't really do anything without measuring your carbon footprint. You need to know where your carbon emissions are coming from. So then you can work towards decarbonizing. So you can work towards reducing those impacts. Finally, empower travelers to take climate action. Give them the choice, give them raise awareness. You need to give them the tools so that they can make responsible choices as well. And then ultimately you can support climate impact projects, because we are on a race, the biggest race of all times right now, to really go towards net zero. So we are depleting our ecosystems, our natural carbon sinks, who also need a lot of support. And businesses can support climate projects to be able to reduce or increase the Earth's capacity to be able to sequester those carbon sinks. And there's also technology and other innovation projects that are supporting us in this transition. So I'm going to take you through a bit on how to measure your carbon footprint. To first understanding in a hotel perspective, what are the different scopes? So when it comes to accounting principles, there are 3 scopes that carbon is being measured: scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. And here is an example, or basically it's a statistical example of how the carbon intensity in hotels are typically distributed. So scope 1 would be your company-owned vehicles, your on-site furnaces, gas consumption. And that's about 8% of your hotelier carbon emissions. Scope 2 would be the energy consumption. So energy consumption, which is based on a hired electricity. So that's if you're connected to the electrical grid, that would be a very large component, not only of your expenses, to actually have your, running electricity, but also a high component of your carbon emissions. And that, of course, is directly correlated to the carbon emissions of the energy grid in your particular destination. So of course, as Europe moves towards cleaner energy grids, you're going to see also your energy consumption reduce their carbon emission composition. And then 55% is scope 3, which is basically indirect emissions. So that's upstream and that's downstream. That could be, the food and beverage, employment, waste disposal. Believe it or not, waste also, especially waste that goes to landfill, also has a carbon emissions. So there's a lot of in scope 3 that may be not necessarily up to your own operations, but you can certainly influence who you work with, as far as your suppliers, and as well as choices as far as your waste disposal and corporate travel. And here's an example of the average carbon footprint per year of urban hotels in Europe by star. So you see that a 3-star hotel, it's about 289 metric tons a year, 4-star 409, and 5-star 616. So these are statistical values based on 26,000 hotel properties. So it's a pretty good indication of what is the carbon footprint of a typical hotel. In this case, we're talking about a 100-room hotel. So this is just to give you an understanding of what is the actual annual emission of a particular hotel. And on the side you see there by hotel, by guest night. Now, what exactly does that mean? What does it mean for 189 409 metric tons of CO2. So you produce 409 metric tons of CO2 in your 100-room hotel. Well, it would take 6,763 seedlings, 10 years, to be able to sequester that amount of carbon into their roots, into their bark. So it really is, a challenge that we have nowadays if we continue to deplete our ecosystems and continue to emit carbon emissions in the rate that we are today. So this is just to give you an understanding of what exactly does that mean and what it would take to actually eliminate that CO2 that you generated in 1 year. So with that said, I really want to give the floor to Sylvia, because Sylvia has a very interesting, path when it comes to, really taking climate action in OSC Hotel. And we would like to have a conversation as far as, how, your starting point. What was your initial starting point, your thought process, and how you came, again, to start decarbonizing your hotel.
Thank you, Paloma. It's a weird position, because I'm usually here to introduce other people, but let's talk a bit. The first thing first, and it has to be for you as well, for anybody managing a hospitality business, it needs to matter to you. The starting point is sustainability, responsibility is something that truly matters to me. Also because sustainability is the new luxury, and it's a form of luxury that matters to me. It's something that I want to treat myself to when I travel. I care about it. So it's a matter of leadership first. You can't start because it's trendy, and you can't start because somebody else thinks that it's the right thing to do. It has to be the right thing to do for yourself first. It wasn't an easy process, but it's a matter of purpose and values. And it's a matter of purpose and values for your guests, for the people you want to attract to your target, to be a bit more technical. And it's a matter of purpose for the working force, more and more, and it will be more and more. So if you want to have your staff happy and involved in their daily job, sustainability will be more and more important, even to retain them. It has been a very, I have to say, complicated process, because the idea was simple and easy. You think it's the right thing to do, let's do it. Actually, I worked on it for 5 years, and this season, so the 5th season, was the first one that made me proud. So it's a daily job, and you can't never stop it, and it's ever evolving. How I started, I set priorities. Easier stuff to do, and most important to me, not to lose hope, let's say. So we started with waste reduction in 2018. We went plastic-free in the first year. That was super complicated. It was complicated because I run my business in a super popular destination, but it's a tiny one. It's tiny villages. It's very difficult to find providers. So it took me like the first 10 months, it was all about finding providers, being able to produce and deliver stuff that could replace plastic. And at some point I lost a bit of hope in that process. We succeeded. So plastic-free at the end of the first year. All the glass bottles we use in minibars and in the bar are returnable or reusable. Sounds easy, because when I was a kid that was normal. Today it's not easy to find producers that want to get their bottles back and reuse them, but we succeeded in that as well. Then energy saving first. And then we went for renewable sources, which is the 100% energy we use today. It's green energy. That was actually easier than what we thought. Even if you, just so you know, even if you can't install solar panel in a blink of an eye, you can still start negotiating with your providers to just get 100% green energy in your own electrical system. And then in the meantime, you can do whatever you need to replace your own energy system and start producing your own energy. And here we had to involve our staff and our guests as per the saving energy part. Because there you have to convince them and let them understand why it is important. A bit less easier, but it was my fault at first. I wasn't able to communicate those values well enough. And so it was a test and try process there. I changed the words I used, and now I use them several times during the second season till guests start reacting the right way. So it wasn't easy, but I learned a lot. The words we use are so important. You can try to say, and you can be doing the right thing. If you're not able to tell it well enough, it won't work. Organic products. Organic first, that was how we started, and then it's just only organic. What we serve at breakfast, what we serve at the bar, but also the shampoo, body lotion, toothpaste, toothbrush we provide to our guests. Again, not that easy, especially for the beauty part of it, because it wasn't easy to find neighboring providers producing those kind of stuff. That took me 2 years. But then I was simply stopped working with them. And in the end, it's a matter of business there, sadly, but it works. So I won my battle with them, and now we have only local providers, which our guests love. And our guests spend money in those local shops because we promote them. So it's a win-win relationship. It's about negotiation and talking again and convincing people. But it's really worth it, trust me, it really works. People are so much happier. Our co-workers, our providers, because they are, we really increase their revenues, and our guests, because they are aware they are doing the right thing. It's cool. Doing the right thing, it's cool at some point. That's a good part of it. Then water and carbon emission. That was at first started to convincing people, not easy, because water is luxury. Having a good pressure shower, it's cool, even at home. So what we didn't lower our pressure, so people has the choice, but we replace all our shower heads with digital shower heads, measuring real time the temperature, the water consumption. You have a LED changing color. You read on the screen what you are doing, what you are using, and then to have it more understandable and real for everybody, you have ice in Antarctica melting according to your own shower. I wasn't sure about this. They are good looking, so I really liked the aesthetic of it. And the digital side of it, I really enjoy. But I wasn't sure. Actually, it works fantastic. Mainly family and parents at the checkout, they ask for the contact, because they want to install it at their place. And this happens mainly when they have kids, because it really has an impact. And you really start taking care of it. I put one in my place, and I really watch it while I shower. So I improved as my personal usage as well. local communities, local providers, but local communities and charities, because I decided to invest part of our income helping the local community. So of course the first thing was just helping local cultural association who want to arrange, I don't know, music classes for kids, but also performances during the summer season, stuff like that. And then there is GISAL, which is a local association in my own village, helping families and people with any kind of disabilities. Is there 25 years. They are doing an excellent job. So of course, part of our taxes and our income on a yearly basis goes to them. And this year, I mean, you all follow what's happening around us, and I'm talking as a woman right now. Everywhere in the Western world, we have issues with women and violence against women. So I start working with Scarpetta Rossa. It's a national association dealing with these issues, and I'm really proud and happy we can help each other and started this partnership. Diversity and inclusion, this also matters to me. So from our guests, everybody's welcome. This is one of the first things you can read on our website and on our social media since ever. This is not new. Actually, this was already there because this is really important to me. So everybody needs to feel welcome and be themselves. And of course our staff also, and our providers and contractors. And it's something that I really care. And then carbon offset, because I mean, we really improved, but there are some carbon emission we can't deal with that we're still generating. I have happy news since last year. Since the last time you measure our emission, all our co-workers now commute by e-bikes or train. So there are no more cars involved in the commuting, so we are happy about that as well. Certification, because I need to mention it. That was an issue to me, because there are thousands certification in every country. So there I had no idea what was the best. I don't really trust them myself, because it's complicated. But I wanted one. Also because my staff wanted one, because they're really making an effort on a daily basis since several years now. So I asked Paloma staff for help. And we went for something more business related. My main target is Scandinavian people. So I wanted a certification that appeal to that target. And this is how we selected at least the first one, then we'll see. And then, of course, we measure, and for that, it's up to you to explain how we measure it.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's a great story, and you know what I hear is first it starts with leadership. Leadership is number one, is having that vision, you know, and understanding that it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to take baby steps, no, but you always need to keep, you know, a direction. And secondly is the buy-in from the employees. You can't also, you know, accomplish anything unless you have, you know, your staff, your employees, your community, you know, involved and feeling proud, no? So I mean, and then not giving up continuously to look, you know, beyond and beyond to be able to establish you know, sustainable practices. So, and then ultimately, this is great. First, you took your steps, and then you decided which is the certification, the recognition that you wanted to have that, you know, was really going to be more aligned with what your goals were. So, you know, we talked about how it's a jungle out there with certifications, but it's really about first understanding, you know, your business and what you want to accomplish with that particular certificate, and then shopping around to see which certificate is the right one for you, because in the end it should just be a tool to certify so that you can get recognition. You shouldn't start from the certification, because then it just becomes an exercise. It just becomes an exercise, and it's not something that you really, you know, internalize. It's not your ethos of your organization. So yeah, we are just really commend you for all the work that you've put in your accomplishments, and I love the stories when it comes to the market. Really, generating that awareness. And you also, you told me yesterday that you've seen it even on TripAdvisor.
Yes, actually, of course we measure with you, but we also ask a feedback to all our guests at the end of the stay in the post-stay email. They are all very good, and most of them convert to reviews. And this year we passed from not even 5% of reviews mentioning our sustainable approach in 2022. Not bad, but I mean, not really cheering up. We passed till 73.2% this year. So this is why I told you this season really made me proud, because it really starts having an impact, and we really start attracting only the right guests for our hospitality business.
That's really fascinating, because social media is a lot more powerful than even any certification that you can get. So if you have your guests, talking about it, that's really, the recognition that you really need for all the work that you've put in. So yeah, congratulations on that. So I have another small example. I have a little video of another sustainable hotel. They are a hotel chain. Yep, okay. So this is part of a documentary series that we're leading as well as Sustainable Travel, Where Next? And this is the work that Six Senses is doing in Spain.
Six Senses Ibiza. This property is going to be the first BREEAM certified in the Balearic Island. There was a thoughtful consideration regarding maximizing the natural ventilation of the buildings and natural light. We are powered by 298 photovoltaic panels. We also have a geothermal cooling system. So focusing on renewable energy, these two systems together are helping us to offset 40% of our carbon footprint in the property.
Welcome to Six Senses Douro Valley. Right now, we are in our organic garden. Here we produce a lot of herbs and vegetables that we use in our kitchens. Everything is produced according to nature rules, so everything in balance and harmony.
The Earth Lab is the heart of sustainability in every Six Senses property. In this very special place, we are driving the coolest activities and workshops to engage our guests.
We educate and we inspire children to understand how every decision they make has an impact on climate change and in our planet as a whole.
We have these beautiful donkeys that we protect, and this is done through the Sustainability Fund, and this goes across every Six Senses.
So George is our mushroom supplier. He brings boxes, we change to our boxes, and then he takes his ones back. If we can do this with all suppliers, we can reduce the amount of plastic being used. I think that's fantastic.
So again, sustainability is a journey, and there's so many steps that you can take, but it's also about telling the story correctly, telling the story of exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, so that you don't fall into greenwashing. It's not about having a flashy campaign, but it's really about educating and raising awareness and really having a motive as to what you're doing and why. So just to end, Sylvia was talking about, offsetting those carbon emissions that, she basically can't reduce because we are, again, we still don't have, ultimately the technology to be completely decarbonized. And we, again, are in this race. So there's a lot of projects out there that are doing their part on reducing carbon emissions. Our portfolio of projects is composed of these types of projects. So forestry projects, which is conserving, natural forests who are at risk. So these are not protected areas. These could be buffer zones. It could be other areas, but they're in important ecosystems. It could be areas where there are communities living in there, and that these type of projects will actually support them in being able to take a more healthy relationship with the forest, so that they don't deplete the forest for their own necessities. So there are a lot of these forestry projects across the globe. Renewable energy projects also supporting the transition towards renewable energy. So solar, it could be hydro, it could be wind, biogas, for example. Those are the different types of renewable energy projects. Even cook stove projects are included in here. Blue and teal carbon. So this is one of the newest methodologies, and this is supporting the restoration of mangrove ecosystems and peatland ecosystems. So those underwater, ecosystems are super important, not only because they're, a nest for biodiversity, but they sequester 10 times more carbon than a wooded forest. So these are very important ecosystems, and the tourism industry, especially hoteliers, in these regions, have traditionally depleted these ecosystems to build infrastructure. So it's time to give back and reconstruct these very important ecosystems that are also natural barriers and support with climate change adaptation. And finally, innovation technology. So there's a lot of new technology when it comes to soil restoration, direct air capture, ocean alkalinity. There's a lot of new technologies that are really accelerating our efforts to sequester more carbon through the air. And these are they're starting technologies, and it's important to support them now while they're in their R&D phase, so that we can scale them and really be able to increase our capacity to reduce the carbon that's currently in the air. There's a lot of talk as far as the validity of these carbon projects. We are very proud of our due diligence. We have long-standing relationships with projects that we've vetted, and we have a very thorough vetting mechanism. We vet not only what they're doing on the ground, if they're in good standing, if they're third-party verified, but the project developers as well. We also review the project developers and make sure that they're transparent and good projects. So that's the carbon, climate projects that you can support as well. They're across the world. It could be in Europe and in developing world, in Americas. There are projects all over the world that are working towards this race towards net zero. So. Yeah, so we've worked with many businesses across the globe. We've been doing this for over 15 years, and we're known for our carbon offsetting program for the travel and tourism space. But with that said, I would like to give it to Sylvia back so that you can invite
my boss. He actually is my boss.
Okay.
It's not a joke.
Let's have a conversation.
Don't say that. I would like to involve also Harold that is here, and Giovanna. Thank you, Giovanna, to coming. To Giovanna Manzi. There no need really need a presentation today, and that's interesting because we talked about certification before, and I saw in your due diligence process and also third-party verification. How do you measure, and how do you are sure that the newcomers are applying your methodology, for example, and actually they are telling the truth in the process? I don't think you are. It's possible to be there every day. So what is your way for understanding if they are actually doing well?
So we are measuring carbon emissions. So we have our methodologies, already developed. We use, international factors and statistics, and so we have our own calculator, our carbon calculator. So we work with businesses. We ask them for their raw data, and we input it into our calculator. And so we basically are giving them back their carbon emissions data. When it comes to decarbonization practices, now we give them recommendations. In that case, because we're not certifiers ourselves, we recommend certifications that then would be the auditors. And we know the certifications because we've studied them, you know, in many different ways. So we know like what would be the best depending on your particular goal. But they would be the auditors. We manage more the carbon calculations.
Just one thing, when she says that she asked for raw data, because many of you might not realize, you also have to send data about really the whole staff commuting during the year. If you do business trip, like last year it was my flight and hotel in London to attend the WTM for the hotel. So all these enter into the calculation. It's not just water, energy consumption, or waste.
It, of course, is a trust issue because, I mean, you have to say the truth.
Yeah, but when you, not for the certification, but when you reach out to somebody like Paloma, of course it's your own.
Yeah, sure. What is the main motivation, in your opinion, based on your experience, for starting this path?
What is the main motivation?
Yeah.
So, you know, I see now more and more a lot of organizations coming to us and they say, I know I need to do something, but I don't know where to start. I'm seeing a lot of that. So there's a will from companies, and they're seeing why, because there's a lot of different pressures. Not only are we in a climate emergency and people know that they need to do something, but there's compliance issues. So there's compliance and regulation issues, and there's a market issue as well. Employees are asking for it. So there's a lot of different pressures, you know, coming to businesses, and they need to do something about it. So that's the main objective. It's like they really need to start this journey and they don't know where to begin.
Do you think, Silvia, there is Zapata mentioned market issue? So do you think it's more and more important for the travelers, for the tourists, to stay in a green, real green, so sustainable hotel? Is part of the value proposition, or it just,
So of course the correct answer is it depends. It is essential to my own.
No, I was asking that if you are seeing more tourists interested in that.
Yes, of course, and it is essential, for instance, to my main target, Scandinavian people.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They don't travel unless, like 90% of them, they don't travel unless they find the right commuting solution and the right offer. And being my main target, it's essential to them. And my main target is also French, German, American, Canadian people who relate to this matter. So it's essential for the people I want to attract and I want to welcome at my hotel. But in general, yes, the last generation, the new generation, really care about it. They really are aware and scared and afraid about this. So it will be more and more important, no matter what your ideal target is. At some point, the whole traveler community will be putting the priority to this.
I have two special guests today. Under the profile, and this is the same question, under the profile of the destination, what is the impact? So the destination is the summatory of several hotels, restaurants, museum, and all the citizens, all the shops that make the destination alive. So what is the impact? How can we motivate and how can we involve the large majority of the operators of the destination to follow that path? And that is the way, so be provocative, please. So that is the way that we can more sustainable destination, or everything have to start from the authorities?
It's never difficult for me to be provocative, as you well know.
Please do it.
I mean, it seems to me that at the destination level, if you think about visiting Barcelona, since they're not in the room, let's talk about Barcelona. If you think about visiting Barcelona, I can choose to visit Barcelona in a green way if I wish to do so. I could get on a train from London, I could arrive in Barcelona 5 days later or whatever, perhaps a bit quicker than that. I could then choose to stay in a certified hotel. I wouldn't actually believe a certified hotel. I've been in too many when I go into the room and the lights are on and the TV's telling me who I am, and they're Gold Star certified. So certification's gone out the window. As far as I'm concerned, maybe I know somebody in the city who can recommend a place. Maybe I can find a local brewer. One of my former students brews beer in Barcelona. I would trust him. But actually, it's pretty difficult. And I think the destinations will change when the city governments change them. And we saw that with Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik is moving in that direction. And what I would say is that a hotel is not a lot different from an office block, just got a few more bedrooms and bathrooms in it. It's essentially going to be changed by city-level administration regulating the way the city works. Banning cars from the city centre, bringing in successful, sustainable transport systems. Barcelona happens to have been particularly good at that. But it won't be changed by tourism. It will be changed by the people the place belongs to, and it never belongs to the tourists unless you're Venice. Everywhere else belongs to the local community who lives there. And my hope is that communities will change their cities so that they become more sustainable, and then people will choose to join them. Your data is very interesting. I use the same data. The problem is, if you look at the other side of the booking.com data, what they say, what the consumer says is, we can't find sustainable product. And what they mean by that is they can't find credible, sustainable product. Because too many people have booked a 3, 4 or 5 star green hotel and got there and thought, that isn't actually the way it's supposed to be. I had a recent experience where I checked into a hotel and they gave me 2 key cards. I said to the woman behind the desk, I said, why are you giving me 2 key cards? I thought I'd booked a single room. Yes, she said. So I said, well, I'm not bringing in a prostitute, so why do I need 2 key cards? She said, you'll need 2 key cards. And it's because you put one in the slot on the wall to keep the lights on when you're not in the room. And that goes on all the time in certified hotels, and it undermines any credibility that that certification system has. Our hope is that the new legislation coming through from the European Parliament in 25 will change that. But as ever, the regulators are miles behind the pace. And that's the depressing thing. The certification is coming way too late. What I would say to anybody who runs a hotel in the room is you better be ready for it when it comes, because it's going to be, I think, quite draconian. No. Is that provocative enough?
It is. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, London to Barcelona by train is a 7.5-hour train ride, plus half an hour commute to change train station in Paris. And if you consider the time to commute to the airport, the security check, delay, flight time, and then back again at destination, you might be wanting to consider it.
Yeah.
I won't go to Barcelona again without going by.
No, I was talking to him.
And thank you, Harold. And thank you, Harold, for mentioning that, because I mean, this was I fear most, because I mean, the green badge from Booking.com is to obtain the green badge from Booking.com. You just answer 80 questions. You answer yes to the large majority. You are green certified hotel.
Yeah, that is very deficient.
I don't normally speak up for Booking.com for obvious reasons. However, I am really excited by this, because I can't wait to book into the first Booking.com hotel that I've got through it, and I get there and find that they're breaking one of the things they say they're doing. I should be straight in the small claims court for compensation. And I think that is what will shift it. If I go to your certificates, I can't do a damn thing about it, because I don't have a contract with the certifier. I have a contract with the provider. If the provider is saying they're doing it and they're not doing it, I can go for financial recompense. I'm really excited. I think it's a game changer.
I don't have a certificate.
No, but any of the certificates you recommend are the same.
Sure.
But what I really like is, you know, her story, because social media, TripAdvisor is really, that's what's validating it. You don't need Booking, you know, to have like, you know, fill out the 80 questions. You have your clients.
I didn't even
fill
fill it, actually.
May I? We have Giovanna. Giovanna Manzi was CEO of Best Western Italy from 18 years.
Yes.
18 years. She's a very...
1-8. Not 8.
So for a long, and she's an expert of hospitality, of course, but she worked also on Amadeus and is very tech savvy. So she knows technology, and I think she understands all the dynamics behind that.
And
So
sorry.
you have a question for?
Yes,
Yeah.
for Silvia probably. Sorry, I'm late. I was late, and so I don't know if you mentioned before I arrived. But just a question. I think in all this journey, as Paloma called, all this journey, what is important is to involve staff. And I would like to ask to Silvia if I guess that you set goals like we want to reduce our footprint by this or blah blah. And do you use these KPIs also in your work relationship with your staff? Meaning using, for instance, for bonus, for career, for whatever. I mean, it's useful in.
So bonuses weren't
Concrete.
necessary because they are really involved in the process and they care. It wasn't bonuses, but for instance, this year we bought, well, a few months ago, we bought e-bikes for everybody, for them to commute to work. So it's not a bonus, but
It's a welfare.
yeah, but they are really happy, and some of them, like me, are constantly on a diet. So that was also a good incentive.
Me too.
But yeah, no, the staff, I was telling before, the staff is one of the main priority, because if they are not involved, if they don't believe in it, there's no way of achieving anything. They really need to care and be proud, and actually they are proud, because in the reviews in the last season, almost any review mentioned them with their name. They thank them with their name. That never happened before. And of course, it's something, and it's really important.
And do you see your specific destination a change since you started and someone else, in terms of hoteliers, of course, or?
Yes, a few of them. They started already 2 years ago, doing the same thing we are doing as per water. One of them started using our same providers, local providers. So it is moving, and I think it will be more and more social media mentioning it, and you have to keep up.
And I think this is one of the most important stuff, because we are going to be like a role model in each destination. If you think about this, will be a revolution in some years. Okay.
But actually, I have to say, because when I started, what inspired me was something this amazing lady did in Santa Margherita Harbor. You remember? Harvesting plastic from the sea in the harbor. Santa Monica is quite close by to where I live and work. And I saw a video on social media of Giovanna promoting this new initiative they did with Best Western. And this was really started the whole process for me. So,
Full circle.
my guru.
Amazing. That's a great story.
So just to use the last minutes that we have, we are incredible in time this morning. It's really incredible. So Asia, just get warm up for the next. And it's easy if you are a small hotel, or it's hard for you for making this part. What do you think?
It's much easier for a bigger business.
You think?
My main issue, yeah, of course, because the leverage I have on a business relationship and negotiation is not.
Yeah, that's
it's
correct.
not an important one. It really took me time and a lot of work on this. For a big business, a small chain or a very big hotel, the numbers are higher.
And the first priority, and the same, answer the same question, I think it's relevant. And also, your first priority, if you have to make an advice for somebody that want to start, how can I start?
Baby steps. Baby steps. So start measuring your carbon footprint, measuring your impact.
Okay. Was a celebration of what you say. Start measuring and everything light up for us. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.